everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and welcome to Dragon Ball Super Reviews. I do apologize that this reviews episode was so late. There's some, just stuff I had to go through, and oddly, not much happened in this episode, but at the same time, stuff happened, but not much happened. Anyway, this episode is titled, Episode 12, The Universe Crumbles, Clash, the God of Destruction versus Super Saiyan God. Now, instead of explaining the whole plot, or lack thereof, I'm gonna just go over basically what happened in this episode. This episode is basically Beerus and Goku continuing to fight. But I will go over some highlighted moments in the entire episode rather than go over the entire plot summary in general because, like I said, there wasn't much plot to go over in this episode in particular. This fight's seeming to drag out a bit. From what I can see here, the fight started at around episode 10. And, Goku turned Super Saiyan God at episode 9, which took freaking forever. And then episodes 10 through... Well, I think we got episodes 10 through 14 is when the actual fight's going. So the fight's been going for about 4 episodes now. So yeah, we get our classic Dragon Ball Z like way of approach when it comes to battle. Overall, the episode 11 was the fight starting. Episode 12 was like the fight episode 11 was actually the fight getting better. Episode 10, I'd have to say, was Goku just warming up. Episode 12 is basically like the bigger thing to the fight, and then we've got 13 and 14, which, this is where the fight concludes on 14. So with that being said, overall, how did I think about this one? I thought it was good, but I thought this was a classic case of Dragon Ball Z. And I know what you're thinking, like, obviously, it's a Dragon Ball series. But this is like, everything about this episode screams classic Dragon Ball Z. And what I mean by that is, some of the animations were reused in the fight, like when Goku and Beerus charged towards each other to punch each other, when them charging towards each other showed the entire universe going upside down and then right side up. Like, some of the animation was repeated. And then we also got the infamous charging up power for a long time scene that happened in this episode. Beerus and Goku both charged up power, and I swear I timed it. It was about 4 to 5 minutes of them charging up ki. And it was so just funny to see because it got so exaggerated to the point where, like, Goku and Beerus both summoned up dragons, and the dragons impacted each other and basically was showing them powering up. And yeah, so it got more ridiculous than even Dragon Ball Z itself gets when it comes to powering up. So I thought it was kind of weird to see fights in this style again after we've gotten Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, where in those fights they just power up and get straight to it, whereas in this episode we see powering up just last a really uncomfortably long amount of time. It was just really interesting to see. But overall, when the fight got started, I was a little disappointed because most of the beginning of the fight was just one punch and them punching at the exact same time. And, like, it was them impacting each other. But I do think that this was interesting, the minute that they hit each other. Now, Dragon Ball Z's been known to up the bar for anime fights because, the fight between Goku and Vegeta the first time in anime-wise was the first fight to ever reach levels of that climax where the entire world is shaking due to the fight, and then it's only gotten worse from here on out where it got to a point where Goku at Super Saiyan 3 fighting was enough to shake the entire galaxy. But now Dragon Ball Super pulls in raises the bar somehow even more for anime fights by Goku and Beerus' impacts to each other being so harsh that they're literally ripping the fabric of space with their battle. Like, the battle that Beerus and Goku are displaying right now is so climactic, it's literally making the entire universe ripple out of place and shake, and it's causing all forms of havoc to happen all across the universe. How do I feel about this? I think this is very interesting. It's a very interesting element to use. For the first season, though, of this series, I don't know if it's the best way to come at it, because that just asks, how are the rest of the fights going to go out when Goku goes Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and fights against Frieza? Or how are other future fights going to be displayed in this series? Are they going to rip up open fabrics in space? I don't know. It's just, I don't know if they did this just to be climactic or what, but like, that's what we got this time around, was literally a universe crumbling fight. Overall, it took a while for the fight to actually get back up and started again, because they were relying on the same animations and just single punches instead of, like, they would power up for a long time only to do one single punch towards each other. And then eventually they've got to actually, like, fast fighting again. They used the song that they used last episode, where Goku flew out of the water and came back up ready to fight Beerus in round 2. And I really love that song, but this time around when they used it in the episode, it felt out of place. Like, Beerus and Goku punched each other, and that's when they used the song, which in theory wouldn't have been bad, but a lot didn't happen in between all of that. So it's just them being still locked in two punches that intertwined with each other, but the music was playing, but nothing was accommodating for it. Like, it's a really good song, but right after it being used in episode 11, just diluted it a bit, if that makes any sense. But overall, when the fight continues, we get some funny moments with Elder Kai, and then I think we get a moment where Supreme Kai contacts Goku and tells them to stop fighting, and Goku just completely ignores it. So I don't know how I feel about that overall, because the reason Goku's fighting Beerus in the first place is so that Beerus won't destroy planet Earth. I mean, He is fighting Beerus for the challenge of it all, just to fight someone that's godlike, but he's also fighting so that the Earth won't get destroyed. So when I see Goku fighting, knowing that it could possibly destroy the very thing he's trying to stop from getting destroyed, it reminds me too much of Man of Steel, where Superman is trying to stop an evil villain at the cost of destroying the entire city, which means he literally broke the very thing he was trying to save. I don't know if that's a nice comparison or anything, but overall, it was kind of odd for me to see that Goku wasn't even paying attention to Supreme Kai's warning. Overall, this was another funny scene. Whis actually found a way to have Vegeta see the fight without him having to stare up into the sky, and he brings up a projection of the fight, but Vegeta ignores it and keeps looking at the sky. I mean, it's weird, but whatever. And then it's also a funny scene where the Z-Warriors actually do make it up, well, some of the Z-Warriors actually do make it up to where Goku and Beerus are in the fight, and then Goku and Beerus just fly even higher to the point where the ship can't keep up. So I thought that was pretty funny too. It's a funny thing to point out in this entire fight in general, too, is that this fight actually reminds me a lot of the intro to the video game Battle of Z, if anyone played it. Like, if you played Dragon Ball's Z Battle of Z, if you ever played that game, then you'll know that Goku's that Super Saiyan God and he's fighting Beerus, and they're basically in space when the fight takes place. It reminds me a lot of that, if anyone's ever seen it. So that's a funny thing to note. I don't know if anyone else noticed it. I noticed it. It's also very interesting to see that Super Saiyan God has actually lasted this long, where in the movie, Super Saiyan God lasted about, I want to say about 10 minutes into the fight. Maybe even less time than that. Because Goku went back to normal state in the middle of the fight when they were fighting in the caverns. And then he went Super Saiyan, but with God Ki, and fought off against Beerus like that. So I don't know if they wanted to just go ahead and make the Super Saiyan God transformation permanent without having a time limit to where it conks out, or is it just taking really long for the transformation to run out? I don't know which one it is, but from what we see, it's taking forever for the Super Saiyan God transformation to run out. Also, it's interesting to note that while in this form, Goku actually stands a bit more of a chance against Beerus, whereas in the movie, Super Saiyan God Goku was more or less getting his ass beat for majority of the movie, with him just able to keep up. Now, like I said, when the saga ends, which it will more than likely end on episode 14 now, so it knocked out a lot of predictions that most people had. I was close. I said around episode 12, but I was wrong because I'm reviewing episode 12 and the saga's still going on. They're dragging out the fight. So when the saga ends around episode 14, I definitely will do a saga slash movie comparison review to see, some compare and contrast deal. So yeah, it's very interesting. But I'm pretty much rambling at this point. This episode was overall just had a lot of classic Dragon Ball Z elements in it, by the long power-ups, repeated animation, fight, and then the fight obviously being as drug out as it is now. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. It's just noticeable, that's all. So, with that said, the next episode will be episode 13, which is a very interesting episode title, which is Goku Ghost Surpass Super Saiyan God. So that's leaving to several speculations. Will Goku transform Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which I hate that title, but I usually call it Super Saiyan God Ki. It's like he's using the ki of the god to turn Super Saiyan, but whatever. Will he transform that, or will there be something interesting? Maybe it'll be something new, or will Goku, conk out from Super Saiyan God and then transform Super Saiyan like he did in the movie? So, with that all said, that's a very interesting thing to watch. See you all then, everybody. Like I said, I do apologize for the late upload. To make up for that, I'm actually doing a little video that I think you all will like. It'll probably be out sometime on Friday. It'll be interesting just to see that. So with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 out.